Y'all, I love my friends. If you have ever had a real friend, you'll know how to differentiate between these real friends and those who would backstab you when you're not looking. And that's why today I'll be looking into some of the worst friends I could find. We'll be looking at everything from an online friend going across the country to murder their friend, to a guy getting dared to eat a leapingly toxic slug. Ew, right? So guys, if you don't want to eat slugs, then make sure you like and subscribe. Alright guys, it's winter right now when I'm recording this, so it probably doesn't happen as often now, but have y'all ever been to a pool? Or like out swimming with your friends? If you have, you know it's kind of fun to push them in sometimes, right? But guys, you should only do this if you know your friends can swim, and if you know they'll land safely in the water. Well, in this next incident, her friend pushed her from a 60-foot tall bridge, and guess what the reason was? Have y'all guessed? Well, take a look.
3, 2.
Well, she's saying no. Ready? Oh, that's so fun.
The girl who pushed her friend off the bridge in the last video I just showed you went to prison for what she did. Her name is Taylor Smith, and at the time that she went to spend those nights in jail, she was 19 years old. So Taylor Smith and Jordan Holgerson were really good friends. They spent a lot of time together, and on that fateful day a few years ago, they decided to head to a bridge together. This is Taylor Smith, the girl who pushed Jordan in that video. So on that day, as you can see, they were hanging out with a group of friends when Taylor decided to push Jordan for reasons unknown. But when she pushed her off of the 60-foot tall bridge in Washington state, she had no idea what was to follow. As Jordan plummeted through the air towards the water, she thought she was going to die. She said she was extremely terrified, the impact was extremely hard, and from the fall she suffered 6 broken ribs and punctured lungs. Jordan would later say that when they pulled her from the water, she was watching her body change colors as the seconds went on, and once again she thought she would die. But what did Taylor do after that? Did she go down to try check on her friend to see if she was okay? No, she left the scene of the crime. She never showed up at the hospital to visit Jordan, and Taylor didn't even stop over at the family home to make sure that her friend was okay. Well, eventually Taylor was arrested, and after this trial, she pled guilty to reckless endangerment and spent 2 nights in prison.
Oh my god, what was that? 6 broken ribs and a punctured lung? She said no like 4 times before. That's just a terrible friend, whoever did that. 60 feet is like 20 meters. It's basically like jumping down from a big building. Like at that height, water really is no joke. Like, it isn't as in Minecraft where you take no damage if you land in the water. Alright guys, staying on the topic of dares, this next guy almost lost his life over a dare. Have you all ever had a friend say a stupid dare? Like, I bet you won't go shout something stupid really loudly in a crowded space. Like, yeah, of course I am doing that stuff. But not everyone is so adverse to stupid dares. As this incident will show you all, this guy ate a slug, all for a dare. And then the slug took revenge and literally ruined his life. Check it out.
When Sam Ballard was 19, he swallowed a slug after being dared to by some friends. But the slug ended up giving him rat lungworm disease, which caused him to fall into a coma for 420 days. When he woke up, he was paralyzed, had seizures all the time, and was unable to speak or eat without the help of a tube. And sadly, 8 years later, he passed away.
Ah, that's crazy. That slug really changed his life. Imagine you ruin your life over a dare like this. Like, I don't even know how you could get yourself to eat a slug in the first place. But like, he probably didn't think it would make him completely disabled. RIP to that dude. And guys, that's why you shouldn't eat anything that you don't know for sure is safe. Alright guys, let's lighten the mood a little bit after that sad one. Have you all ever had a pet? Like, I've had a family cat. It wasn't really mine though, but I've heard that people that have pets treat them like they're their best friends. Like, those animals don't have anything other than their human in their life. So it only makes sense, to be honest. Well, this next one is a story about a wild animal that was a better friend than all the others in today's video. It's almost like a Pokemon in real life. Y'all gotta see this.
He pulled the dying crocodile from the riverbank and took it home to treat its injuries. For 6 months, he kept it in a secret pond behind his house, where he would feed it 9 pounds of meat a day. He even slept beside it, thinking his love would heal its wounds. And when he tried to release it back to the wild, the crocodile refused to leave and ended up staying with the man for over 20 years. Now, during this time, they performed shows for tourists, and when it finally died, the man held a public funeral where he sang a song for his crocodile friend.
That's so cute. What a great guy to welcome the crocodile into his life like that. Like, I'd never be able to do that. I'd be too scared of getting eaten. But this guy is just splish-splashing in the pool with his pet crocodile. Really makes you think how different we are as people. But guys, I actually did some research on this, and the reason the crocodile didn't eat him was because part of his brain was shut out before he rescued it. And apparently that part of the brain was responsible for aggression. So basically, his best friend was a lobotomized crocodile. Kind of funny to think about, right guys? Let's use this as the word of the day. Comment lobotomized crocodile in the comments, guys. It's kind of hard, but if you spell it correctly, I'll heart you a comment. Alright, that was a little too cute. Let's get deadly with it. Y'all know how you can't drink and drive, right? Well, one of my friends says that it doesn't make any sense, since in my country, our only way to get out is by showing our age with a driver's license. Well, he might be slightly mistaken. This next one shows you all why you should never drink and drive. Spoiler, someone got his head cut off because of it. Check it out.
In 2004, 2 best friends from Marietta, Georgia, John Hutchison, 21, and Frankie Brome, 23, spend the evening at a local bar watching sports. They drink more than they intend, and as the night wears on, Frankie begins to feel sick. John, like most people who've had too much, insists he's fine to drive. He helps his friend into the passenger seat, climbs behind the wheel, and heads toward home. Between the booze and John's erratic driving, Frankie leans out the window to throw up. John, distracted by the music, slowly drifts into the oncoming lane. When he looks back up, he's blinded by the high beams of an approaching car. He panics and jerks the wheel. The truck veers off-road, clipping a telephone pole support wire. The side mirror is ripped clean off, but so is Frankie's head. Whether John understood the gravity of the situation remains unclear, but in his intoxicated state, he drove the remaining 12 miles home, went inside, and promptly fell asleep. The following morning, a neighbor discovers Frankie slumped in the passenger seat of John's truck and calls the police. When the officers arrive, they wake John, still inebriated from the night before. After a brief exchange, police arrest him, noting his visible remorse. Although John faced charges related to the fatal incident, the victim's family pleaded on his behalf, acknowledging it was a tragic accident between close friends. As a result, John would spend just 2 weeks in jail before being released.
That kid on the bike must have had nightmares for the rest of his life about that Frankie guy. I guess maybe don't stick your head out while you're driving in the pitch black night. Drinking really messes up P-Goal's brains, huh? For me, drinking just makes me want to go to sleep. Definitely not stick my head out the window. Alright guys, picking on the topic of people dying, let's look at one that wasn't an accident. Have y'all ever had a friend that was just off? The kind of people that just don't see the world through others' eyes. Like, I swear I know at least 1 or 2 psychopaths just roaming the streets right now. Well, this next one is just crazy. This guy was so unlucky to have 2 psychopaths as his friends, and he got the worst of it. Check it out.
The 2 men in that video, named Cameron Allen and Dylan Breister, and murdered a friend of theirs and recorded the entire thing on video. Their victim was their own friend, a man named Callum Simpson, who just days before had welcomed a new daughter into this world with his wife. Callum had been at a house party that evening, and somewhere down the road, those 2 people in the TikTok video tied Callum up, violently and sadistically and tortured him, and recorded the entire thing on their cell phones. Callum would end up dying after the abuse, and the 2 friends of his watched and laughed as he died. Now, you'd think that right away these 2 would be arrested, right? Well, Cameron Allen was arrested, so was Dylan, but Cameron Allen was released almost immediately on some sort of bail agreement, and he was photographed at a protest just a few days later, holding up a sign that called for people to be decapitated. Keep in mind, this was just a few days, about a week after he had and murdered his own friend. Now, thankfully, these two have just been sentenced to prison time for murder, but it still won't bring back Callum Simpson, and now his children will have to grow up without their real father.
That's just insane. Grown dudes just assaulting and murdering their friend like that. I hope those guys are still in jail when that kid grows up. I hope that mom finds a good man to take care of that kid as well. At least the kid was an infant when this happened. If this happened to my parents when I was like 12, I'd probably become mentally handicapped for the trauma. Rest in peace to that guy. Like, how could people even think of doing stuff like that to their friend? These guys really had no motive for killing their friend like that. But this next one is different. Y'all know how people are worried about being kidnapped and stuff, right? Well, there is actually one reason to kidnap people. It's because they can demand a ransom for your life. So like, you go back to your family, but they get paid. You'd expect some random dudes in a van to kidnap you at night, right? You definitely never expect your friends to kidnap you for a bit of cash, right? Well, that's almost exactly what happened in this incident. Check it out.
What I'm about to explain happened in Bangladesh on August 28th, 2023. The boy on the right who is taking the selfie's name is Shabli, and he was the victim of this disturbing crime, and everyone else you see are the killers. But Shabli was the manager of the farm they all worked on, and one day they all got into a very big argument, and a couple days after the argument, these so-called friends did the unthinkable. They all went to where Shabli was at and then kidnapped him and asked him for money from his parents. Shabli's parents ended up giving them money, and after doing so, the kidnappers assured them that Shabli would be returned home safely by morning, but that did not happen. They ended up killing Shabli and then cooking his flesh and meat and eating him because Shabli saw their faces. The Bangladesh police interrogated a number of suspects, one of whom confessed and showed them the area where Shabli had been killed. Police searched the area but found only fragments of Shabli's bones as well as his skull. On September 10th, 2023, Umangching Marma was arrested as a suspected mastermind behind the crime, and the following day when he was taken to the crime scene, an angry mob of villagers surrounded the police vehicle and then savagely lynched him to death. Umangching Marma had killed Shabli one day after the kidnapping, before even contacting the parents, which just makes this even more disturbing. He then completely dismembered the body, separated the flesh from the bones, and then spreaded both throughout the forest in order to eliminate all traces of the crime. Now, many believe and thought that the suspects had confessed to having cooked and eaten the flesh to reduce the retrievable evidence even further.
Why did they have to eat him too? Money was obviously not the only thing they were after here. These absolute psychos. Imagine your friends cooking you and having you for dinner. Like, that's just insane, guys. My friends would never, right? I'll play rot in jail for life. This last one is just crazy, guys. Y'all know those boys who always act tough? Like they wear puffy jackets and stuff? This guy did the most horrible thing, just because someone laughed at him. It's really terrible stuff, guys. Check it out.
Abdul Rahman Ali, 16, sent laughing emojis to budding actor Osman Sharif Sufi before chasing him down and killing him the following day, the Old Bailey heard. Ali had sent emojis depicting a laughing face during a group chat on Snapchat after Osman claimed he was the toughest in June. Osman took offense at being mocked in front of their friends, responding with threats to wet, stab Ali, give him a drilling, beat him up, and rise the burning, get a gun, according to another boy. The following day, Ali armed himself with a 31cm knife and went to Tottenham Green to confront Osman, who was carrying a hammer. Witnesses said the former friends, who had known each other for around 2 years, argued and described the defendant brandishing his knife before they went separate ways. But just minutes later, they met in nearby Tynemouth Road and started fighting, with Ali stabbing Osman fatally in the chest. He was arrested after his father called police to report that his son had been in a fight. Abdul Rahman Ali from Tottenham, North London, was locked up for at least 15 years.
What a clown, guys. He's the toughest of them all. So tough he murdered a guy over hurting his feelings by posting a laughing emoji? It's really crazy, guys. People who act tough are probably the most fragile of them all. Alright guys, that was all I had for today. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't be too scared of your friends though. Just know who your real friends are and who the fake ones are. If you spend time with the real ones, you'll have a way better future, I promise you. That's all for today. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And as always, stay safe. Bye!